tell you a little tale about the Michigan Dog Man. But don't let the name Michigan fool you, because he's been seen in 38 out of 50 states, which tells me he's everywhere. He's also been witnessed in Norway and as far south down there in Brazil. Now, the first documented sighting by Europeans was made by two lumberjacks who witnessed an unknown canine whom they said stood 7 feet tall, walked bipedal, 2 legs, upright like a human. That was in Wexford County, Michigan. Now, I'm sure I looked for Native American stories, and I couldn't find anything. I did some pretty good research, but like I said, my main computer's down right now, so I'm doing everything on my i15 Pro, and so that's why we're dealing with what we're dealing with right now. So in the 50s, there was some similar sightings in Allegheny County. Then again in the 60s, number of reports from Cross Village, Big Rapids, and Manister counties. I'm not sure what states those counties are in. Trains going by. There were several unsolved causes, deaths associated potentially to the Dog Man. One was a 13-year-old boy who was mauled by a pack of dogs, and some fur samples at the scene was taken and allegedly sent away for DNA analysis, and it came back unknown canine. Now, does that mean that there's a werewolf walking around? Because basically Dog Man is a werewolf. That's what he is. And then again, there were some 3 campers that were torn to pieces by the Dog Man, shredded. I guess it just tore them apart. And again, they found footprints at the location and dismembered. I didn't look for photographs. I don't know if they exist. I don't look for a police report yet. I'm going to put that on my to-do list. But the campers were torn apart, and again, they found some hair samples, and they sent them away, allegedly, for some DNA analysis, and it came back as an unknown canine. Now, people will tell you how this Dog Man story started was, I believe it's called the Drader film, and the song, like a folk song about the Dog Man coming around every 10 or 12 years and something like that. But I have to look at the name because I want to get it right. Linda Gaudry was a reporter for a local newspaper there, and she set out to debunk it. She just had nothing to do with this. It was just all bullshit. Well, after her investigation, she was a stern believer, and she had no doubt that Dog Man exists. Now I'm going to tell you my story involving a Dog Man, and it was in southwest Iowa, along the Nishnabanda River. I was out hunting, and I seen something walking. It was probably 150 yards away, and I could see something walking on 4 legs, and I thought it was a dog, local dog, because I was just over the levee from my grandmother's house. So this thing's 200 yards away from my grandmother's house. So I hollered at it, "Hey!" And that bitch looked at me, stood up, and started running towards me. I had a double-barrel 12-gauge LC Smith, one of the old ones with the thing like that. It was a pretty nice shotgun. I didn't shoot 3-inch mags out of it, but because the barrel was old. But somebody had cleaned some lumber. I looked at how fast it was crossing that field, and this thing was probably doing 30 or 40 miles an hour. I mean, it was hauling ass. There was nothing slowing it down. And I seen a big pile of logs, like when they fell trees, there's that big pile, huge pile. So I wormed my way down inside there because I knew there was no way I was going to get back to the other side of that levee. He would have got me before then. So I crawled down in there and wedged myself way down in there to, I was small. This thing was freaking huge. It was well over 6 feet, probably 7, maybe 8. I don't know. It was big. Just running around, constantly running around looking for a way to get me. And then it stopped running around. It was making all these noises. Apparently they sound like a woman screaming. I don't really remember that. I just remember being terrified and trying to think, okay, Darren, how am I going to get my ass out of this situation with all my pieces and parts? So I'm sitting in there, and all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see a freaking hand with them big ass black claws reaching. And I looked, and I could swear to God, that son of a bitch has a big snout and kind of humanist in an uncanny kind of way. But I could swear it was grinning at me. It was smiling at me like, I got you now. And I didn't know what else to do, so I said, I'm going to blow your fucking face off. And it took off. It must know guns or whatever, but it took off running. And I waited for it to get about 20 yards away, and I peppered its ass with both barrels. And it made it run faster. And then some local people showed up. A guy named Randy, I think he's deceased now, and a few other people showed up. And I told them the story, and they could see where the thing had ran around there. And they're saying, yeah, we heard. Driving around town, I'm not going to name the town, Southwest Iowa. You'll figure it out if you look. But, they come over, heard the noise, heard the sounds, what's going on, what was it? And I said, I don't know what it was. And then I was telling my dad, I said, the story, I said, it reached his hand through, and he goes, you mean it's paw? And I go, no, I don't mean it's paw. I mean, it was a hand, and it was reaching in, and it was probably going to grab me by the throat, and just, I'd have been done. They probably never would have found me. A couple more people showed up, the locals, tight-knit community people, they hear the sounds, they want to know what the hell's going on. This is unusual, this is weird. So now this thing is all the way back over by the river, in the tree line, and running south down the Nishnabotna River towards Missouri. And people that seen it couldn't understand what they were looking at either. If you were hunting a deer and a deer's running, you kind of know where to lead it, how far it's going to be in a given amount of time or whatever. This thing, you would have had it's just moving at an ungodly amount of speed. I don't think these things are created of God. I think they're created of evil. I think they have been around, and they've been around forever. I think a lot of the David Plaitis and these missing 411 stories that I'll be talking about. It's a horrible creature, and if you ever have the unfortunate to come across it, you're not going to outrun it. The only thing you can do is outsmart it. Try to crawl in a drainage tube, a small one, one of the little culvert things. It won't fit in there. Get in there far enough it can't reach you. It could probably rip the trunk open of the car. I'm assuming, yes, they can climb trees very well. And in fact, that's why people don't see a lot of these things, is because nowadays, humans, we see 6 feet and below. We don't walk around with our looking in the sky, or we trip over a freaking sidewalk. So, if something's hiding up in the tree, you're not going to see it out in the woods. People are hiking in the woods all the time, and where are they looking when they're hiking? They're looking at their feet, where they're stepping. They're not looking up in the trees, maybe for a minute, just stop and take a look up in the trees. You don't know, there could be two Bigfoots, a cougar, and a dog man sitting there watching you. This is all for now. I'll see you soon.